welcome back everyone to another episode of the RDY Set Podcast. My name is Ricky.
My name's Angus.
And we've got Yoel with us today.
Hello.
And we got Grace with us today.
Hi.
All right. So,
there's a lot of movies.
You're starting with something controversial?
So, yeah, speaking of controversial, some people argue that there's been an excessive amount of representation towards Asians in media and also like LGBTQ related stuff. For example, if there's like a Avatar, what was that, anime or movie?
Legend of Korra.
Okay, so I'm guessing that's the anime.
Animated series, yeah.
So somebody's saying that
who's somebody?
Yeah, who's somebody?
Yeah. So some audience members of the
Stop looking at me, Grace. I love when Grace just said that and just looks at me.
You don't generalize. It's like
Right.
everyone's different views, right?
Everybody has different views. Perhaps a minority of people would argue that representation in that anime,
That
Or
series.
just-
cartoon
or media,
Yeah.
like
Media.
you feel like it's being pushed too much,
towards the LGBT.
Yeah.
or like just race and identity. I guess you feel like the agenda is too strong in media. Is what you're feeling like?
I don't know. Okay, so can you tell me? I don't know anything about Avatar.
Okay, so the Legend of Korra, towards the end, Korra had she has a love interest, right? And it was, I forgot who that female character is, but basically they kissed at the end.
Yeah.
And I thought it was unnecessary.
Oh,
And what I mean by unnecessary is I'm totally fine with it. But
Well, the way you phrased it, huh?
okay, let's clarify. Like, I'm totally okay with it, but I feel like if it brings no value to the storyline, it really does nothing. Because it was the last episode, and then they kissed, and that was it.
Was there like sort of any? I didn't watch the series, but I
Yeah.
know that
Like we
that
heard about
moment.
it. And
Yeah.
everything,
Like, was there sort of any
Leading
like,
up to it,
leading up to it? Was there
Yeah.
any sort of like scenes that
connections
showed,
or
you know,
anything between them?
I think I didn't really get any. I'll be honest, but I know some people said they got hints of it,
Okay.
but they didn't really progress anywhere. Like at the end when I saw it, I'm just like, oh, wow, that's different. That like it's new.
It wasn't what you
It's not what I expected. But then later it was the last episode. But then like where does that go? It didn't go anywhere else. It's kind of like The Hobbit too, right? The movie where one of the dwarves, like the elf, that was inserted into the movie. It wasn't in the books. But a lot of people didn't like the Hobbit movie because it was the love interest was not necessary, and it was a female and a guy too, right?
Oh,
but even
like
then,
different species kind of thing happening.
they just didn't like how the relationship brought no value to the movie. So that's how I saw like the Korra, like the relation. They just inserted.
So like even if it was like a guy that she kissed at the end, you would
Yeah,
still felt the same.
felt the same
that
because
scene meant nothing to you.
yeah, it meant not like what happened. Like unless this story kept going and they went through like a journey together,
So
then
it
it
ended there.
yeah, but they just ended. I'm like, then what? That's it. There's like nothing more, and that's when I feel like they're just. I feel
Needlessly sprinkling.
yeah,
in,
just like injecting it to get the views. I feel big companies.
A token character.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's a
so-
term for that
Yeah.
called queerbaiting.
Yes, that is true.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, but
What is queerbaiting?
so queerbaiting is like when TV shows have like a same sex like they insert
Relationship
like a
or-
same sex like relationship.
Yeah.
But they don't actually end up together.
Yeah.
But they do it to bait the queer people like
To watch
watch
it.
the show,
See?
get more
Get the
viewership.
views.
like that.
It's happening so much in like Disney channels.
I wouldn't necessarily
Disney is-
like say
Yeah.
like I mean there's definitely a fine line in
Mhm.
determining what is queer baiting versus like what is actually like I guess representation. But I think like at least for me like it's nice to see like seeing more representation
Yeah.
like in
In
media
media.
of like people in same-sex relationships or
Yeah.
even people that are like I guess Asians like seeing more
Yeah.
like in like leading roles and stuff like
different
that.
races.
But I think it's sort of like now I kind of like want to see like them not just be like this person is gay just because they are.
We're putting them because they are gay.
Yeah.
Like that's their main identity.
Like that's their identity.
Yeah, exactly.
But like getting to a point where that's the norm. Like
this person also loves archery and also happens to be gay. Kind of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, it's not necessary, right? Like they're just like forcing it.
well, but the thing is, like, there's so much, like, the representation is still so skewed. Like, if you don't try and like
Sprinkle that in.
but like if you don't try to like put more representation, like when are you gonna get to a point where it's the norm, right?
So you're saying it's best to sprinkle or inject a lot of these into
Media.
media
Normalize it.
to normalize it and then start to dial it down
Yeah,
later?
because then it's gonna be more normal than more widely accepted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, like, what, you're just gonna constantly in media in past like so many decades, like Hollywood's mostly focused on like Caucasian actors or like straight actors, and that was just the norm. People accepted it. But like if you don't start making a change, like when is it gonna happen?
It's kind of like those, it's like Shang-Chi and all those
Yeah.
crazy rich Asians
Yeah.
with a lot more Asian.
Asian representation.
Yeah.
Trying to like make that into a norm, right?
I think there's I
Mm.
definitely see that like the two sides to that, and sort of like it's nice to have that representation
Yeah.
because like, you know, for like kids growing up,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice to sort of see like themselves, like us, like we didn't have like Shang-Chi or like Crazy Rich Asian growing up, so it's nice to see that like now. And like I know like one example was like with the Little Mermaid with making Ariel black. And then I saw like videos like on TikTok of like young black like kids like, you know, like super excited because they saw
Oh, it's like a black princess.
a black princess.
Yeah.
That makes sense because she's a princess who just happens to be black, right?
Yeah.
But then if they were to just throw in a character that's like, oh, here's a lobster, but it's a black
Asian.
lobster. He's Asian. Oh, sorry, yeah, he's an Asian lobster. Like
Okay, but
that
it's a
doesn't
lobster.
do anything, right?
It's a lobster.
Yeah.
Well, I guess what he's getting at is like, where does the line draw? Like, is it necessary for a lobster to have a race?
Right.
So I guess
Like you're saying a lobster can have a race
Maybe it can.
I mean,
if it wants to be.
Yeah. What if this lobster identifies as Asian?
lobsters have races. The species, the lobster, but they could be Alaskan. They could be
identify
like,
as an ethnicity.
well, but not really relating to our races. I hope not.
It's like white people. There's like white people who are like major Korea boos, and then they eventually like I don't know.
Oh, plastic surgery and get it done, turn into.
Yeah.
Assimilate themselves to be that race.
Yeah, they're like identify as Korean.
Oh.
That's a bit pushing it because
That's the thing in like Singapore though, right? Because they have like a very mixed or a diverse people,
like
right?
racing.
So then there are you'll have like white people that speak English in like a really heavy Chinese Singlish accent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but like
So-
nationalistically,
Yeah.
I guess if they
But
lived
like
there,
if they grew up there, it's acceptable because you were like culturally like educated that way, or
yeah, it's not like someone who's like taking like the aesthetic of like that culture and being like, I like all these parts of the Japanese culture and stuff, but like without understanding like the history
right.
of
Yeah.
that country
Mhm.
and sort of being like, I like Japanese.
Yeah. Like they're just picking at parts of it where I just like how this looks and I'm gonna like go with it versus like they understand, like as Grace said, the history of it all. Yeah.
So can you recently the hot topic in Netflix is that dating show with the Koreans. I don't know.
Single Inferno.
Single.
I don't watch it, by the way. I
Wait,
just
is
know
it
the
Single or
I
something?
swear.
It's not Netflix. It's like a Korean streaming site.
Oh, is it Korean streaming? Oh,
They're
yeah.
talking about Love Alarm Club.
Oh yeah, that thing. Yeah.
And even within our friend group, that was quite a hot topic.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Wait, what's
just,
that?
just among the girls.
Yeah, just one of the girls too.
Sorry, what's the show about?
It's
I
a
don't
dating
know.
show.
Okay.
So
With like men and women kind of thing.
yeah,
It
men
is-
and women. I don't know if they specifically marketed it as like a show with contestants that are part of the LGBTQ community, or it was just happen like naturally. That's how it progressed.
Okay.
Okay.
But like it's just like you have like
guys on one side and girls on the other side.
4 guys and 4 girls that join the show, and then
the show is like they're supposed to match with each other, kind of thing, like the guys and girls. But then
so it's like a dating show.
Yeah, it's a dating show. It's a typical dating show. And then, correct me if I'm wrong. What was surprising was 2 of the girls, or maybe one of the girls, was like crushing hard on another girl. And so then I guess at the end of one of the rounds, they're supposed to give a flag or vote who they want to go on a date with. And the girl who was crushing hard gave her vote to another girl, which like shocked the whole community. So what was really significant about that? Like how do you
what are our thoughts?
Yeah, about seeing something like that in media?
I mean,
did you cry? Was it like feels?
Well, like considering like we identify as queer and we are attracted to females, like of course we're like excited because like, oh my god, it's like 2 cute girls and like they're interested in each other. So like we're excited about it. But like, oh, spoiler alert, but like as the show progressed, like I think it's sometimes dependent on like production and editing too. Like I feel like they did kind of like queer bait it a bit, as in like they kept on focusing
on the 2, right?
And
so they milked them a little bit.
I didn't watch the show. So
so they kind of like built that relationship, which is probably more.
Like it wasn't even like in the beginning. Like it was like in the beginning, like you just assume they're all straight.
Yeah, it's a dating show.
It's a dating show, and like in most like formats like that, especially in Korea, like they just have like heterosexual like contestants, and that's the norm. So then like that's where it started off with, and then throughout the show, then you start getting hints of, oh, like certain people are actually queer, and it's nice to see that representation. I'm happy about that, like happening, all that, but I guess like it gets to a certain part where it's like, I guess like it blew up and then like it got popular. So I think production started like
focusing on that
because it gets the views.
Yeah, it gets the views.
It's all about the views.
Yeah.
So then how much of that happening, or sorry, how should I phrase this? Does it not get to the point where it's like, as a viewer, think to yourself, we get it, they're gay.
Are we allowed to say that we're out?
Yeah. But then because it's like they really like hound you with that. Oh, this is a girl on girl action kind of thing. It's like, sorry, not action, but just like this is a girl on girl relationship. Like, but then when they hyper focus on that, don't you think?
They're pushing it too far.
Yeah, they're pushing it too far. It's like, okay, that's enough. Dial it back a little bit.
Wasn't okay because I think it wasn't okay because of the ending of the show. So in the end, like, one of the girls ended up choosing one of the guys. So it's like they had all this edits in where it was, you think they were going to be endgame, ending up together, like the 2 girls, and then suddenly like 180 flip, like what just happened?
Plot twist. Yeah, it was like a plot twist on a plot twist.
Yeah, so like
it's like for the views.
So it's like, yeah, so that's when it's like, are they doing it because they're just
that's part of reality TV.
Yeah, with reality TV,
bi too.
Well, she is bi. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But then it's like, then why are you throwing all this? Why didn't you build the other relationship?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But like, so what's going too far then?
Yeah, because I know, Gracie, you wanted to say something.
I don't even remember.
Like, but yeah, like that's the thing. Like, you know how you were saying that it's good for them to go a lot further and then dial it back down. But what's going too far to the point you're like, you're just overdoing it now?
Like, I guess like if there's no rhyme or reason, like you just suddenly make them, if like a whole way throughout a show, they didn't identify as queer, and then suddenly you throw it in because it gets popular, then that's a bit of a touchy subject.
Okay.
I see that.
But like,
I don't think there's ever like sort of like a go too far because it's not so normalized yet. Even like, you know, you see like if someone's like straight, you're not gonna think, oh, that's going too far.
Right.
They're throwing their straightness at
you. Like, you don't think, can we stop their straightness?
Oh, yeah. I see.
Yeah,
because
like,
okay, because like
the norm is.
It is, because when I was working in like TV, So like a lot of the new shows that's being pitched, especially from Disney, they're always injecting. They
have quotas now?
I don't know. It's sort of like, you sort of
bring a certain percentage of representation.
It's all about the numbers, right? And they want to be more like
inclusive.
So then at what point will it be enough?
Yeah.
Will there ever be do you foresee?
What's enough for you, like for both of you, like where you feel like, okay, this is too much, you need to dial that back down?
That's a very ambiguous question. It's so
what's enough? I don't know.
I mean,
it's a society first before media, right?
It's you can't, like, right now we're definitely not there. It's like also like what's enough is like how people in general, like general public, how they think what's normal, like. That's not the case right now. So until that point is reached, like
until it's sort of like a point where like let's say there's a character and they happen to have like a love interest that is of the same gender, of the same sex of them, like.
But that's not the main focus.
That's not their main focus, I guess.
No,
I don't know where I'm getting at, but like
until that's like a norm, like people are not going to be like, oh, they're like, oh, like whether you self-identify as like queer and you're gonna be like, oh my god, they're queer too, I'm gonna watch it, or like you don't, and then it's like, oh, they're just throwing it in there, like it's completely the norm, the same as how like a heterosexual relationship is a norm as like any queer relationship. Then that's where it should be, right? That you won't be like, I'm gonna do a double take just because it's different.
Angus?
I agree with everything you just said.
But like I understand like all these different points where it's like sometimes it feels like it's too in your face.
Yeah.
But then it is too in our face, but then we can't have a voice in that because it means much more to people that are in that minority that will feel like
they feel represented and
right?
they feel
Like, what about like Shang-Chi, right? It's like full Asian cast. How did you like the movie? Like, did you feel like, wow, I'm so empowered after watching the movie? But I'll be honest, I did not feel empowered after watching it. No. I thought it was okay. Like, I'm like, oh, some of it. Like watching Black Panther, the first one.
Like production wise, right?
It's just like okay, I'm not black, but like the pride that you feel from it, like, the pride, right, that they have. I felt it coming out of the movie. And I watched Shang-Chi and I thought I'll get the same feeling. And I didn't get it.
Right.
And there were like monks doing like Shaolin Kung Fu and everything. And I didn't feel any of it. And I'm like, I should have felt something, but I didn't. So
maybe that's like a script writing.
Maybe it's a script writing. Yeah. But I don't know. Like, did you feel like I represent us very well in the movie?
I mean, like, considering like some of the parts were like, well, because we're like
we don't have superpowers.
Well, we're yes,
we can't ride dragons.
Sure.
I think a good movie that sort of showed like good Asian representation was Turning Red.
Yes, that's true.
If you watched that,
Pixar,
I seen that. Yeah,
and because it was like
I
don't know, we're Canadian, so it was like about a girl,
Canadian-born Asians, right?
Was it Canadian-born Asian?
Yeah, it was Canadian-born, like based in Toronto or like Ontario.
So like stuff like that, where you see representation of like our kind of
like
culture.
Our upbringing too, because it wasn't all like China. It was
yeah.
Like, did you watch Turning Red? Was it
Turning Red? Yeah, I watched it. I mean,
it's okay.
It was okay. It wasn't relatable because I wasn't on my period or anything, right?
Oh, Ricky. Yeah, I mean,
or heard my parents apologize to me. So like, I mean, I don't see how that part is relatable.
Cut this.
We're gonna get killed after. Okay, no, I thought the movie was okay. Like, I thought the
storyline was well done, and
I thought they were pushing too much on the whole Asian thing.
Yeah,
like, I'll be honest, because after Crazy Rich Asian, there was so many Asian things after, and they kept pushing. Like, I watched it without knowing what it was,
right?
And I was like, oh, new movie from Pixar, right? And I watched it, and I'm like, oh,
But like, did you never like felt like relatable to, like, at a certain point in the movie? Like, it's like, oh, I felt
more relatable with the movie, the one with Michelle
Yeoh?
Yeah, the Anything Anywhere.
Oh, really? I was gonna say, wow. I really did not.
No,
like that
movie. I felt that more towards the end, where she's trying to seek approval from the dad, but she can't really live her life, and she's trying to do that, and then it's like the balance. Like, it kind of made me tear up a bit, so I felt more towards that more than Turning Red, because I feel like maybe it's.
I mean, Turning Red is like a child movie too.
It is a child movie, yeah.
And like, you know, the main character is a girl,
and
going through like puberty. So you know, it makes sense that like you probably would not relate to it as much.
I see.
But like, you know, there's still aspects to it.
So was did you find Everything Everywhere All at Once to be a very significant movie towards the LGBTQ community because of the daughter that is
see, that one I was okay with.
And why is that?
No, because it made sense, because it steered away the relationship and she didn't accept for who she is. And like, there was so much story and history to tell with that, and they explained it very well. And then that I was okay with, because it's more the acceptance, right? Like, Asian parents are not very accepting. It doesn't have to be like you liking the opposite gender. It could be anything, right? I don't want to be a certain career. They could be rejecting that and say they want you to fulfill what they want you, what they think is good.
You said, what if it's not part of the story, as in, what if she was straight?
No. Like, I mean, that if she was gay, but like, it wasn't really like, I mean, I guess it would sort of like break the plot of the movie, but like
they use it as a plot device in the movie versus if
she just was like, she's had like a partner.
Yeah.
That was
a
woman.
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't like part of the story. It was just like a side back, like this.
Yeah. That she's also like into girls. Like, what would you think? Like,
I think that's what
that was totally
the community is trying to get towards.
Yeah,
right?
But I think that's fine.
That, it's not like the ideal end goal is that this person just happens to be gay,
like,
but then like they have a rich, deep story outside of that as well. That's not their main trait. So wouldn't it have been better if it was like less in your face?
Because I think like Buzz Lightyear. Like, have you seen the movie Buzz Lightyear? The new one?
But I know that there was the whole uproar about like someone, and there was like a kiss or something.
Yeah. It was like Buzz Lightyear's commander or whatever. She ended up marrying, like, she was gay. Yeah, and then they ended up kissing. But I thought it was okay. Yeah, because it wasn't in your face. He went home, like, they went back to the base. She opened the door and her wife was there. Yeah. And then they had a kid. And now in my head, I'm like, oh, cool. Like, she's like, it wasn't in your face. It was just there.
So what is in your face then?
When they inject things when it's not necessary.
Okay.
Like the Korra part. Like, they could have put it very early on, but they didn't. They put it right at the end. And it just made no sense.
Kind of like that point you said about
level
the character, and then
like they threw it in because it got popular.
Yeah, it's like, oh, do you know what would get views if we do this? And then they erased like the last part of the script. They changed it and they just inject that.
Yeah,
so that would be queerbaiting.
Yeah.
So like, for that, I don't really like. I think that's pushing too far. But where if it's already, like midway through or even in the beginning, and it's just there, but not kept saying like, hey, I'm gay, and keep doing all these things, then I think it's fine, in my opinion. Please don't fire me.
Well, I guess what is like, we all come to consensus of thinking like, as long as like, once it reached to a point where it's like, it's normal, not like you're pushing it so hard that it has to like be the main topic.
Yeah, I think as long as it's not the main topic, because I think that's the point, right? To make it normalized is that we don't want it to be.
Is in a way,
stop. You don't need to announce it every single time, because that just comes off like, oh, you're trying too hard.
But like, counter to that, like, I feel like we're in the process of getting there. So I feel like,
I think in a way we have sort of got there.
Yeah.
Like earlier on, like years ago, all the movies like that are like sort of with gay teens or like lesbian teens, it's all about them coming out.
Right.
And now it's like
more normal. Like
now it's like they just are gay and they're going about their life and stuff, which is nice to see, because it's not all about that angst and struggle.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to see that anymore. You just want to see it
Normality.
being normal.
Yeah, normalized.
Like, the character
society
is gay. Yeah, they aren't like going through the process of like
figuring themselves out, sort of thing.
So it sounds like maybe in like 5-10 years, it won't be as in your face because everything's all normal, right?
Well, that's what we hope so, right? Even before that. I'm all for it. So I support.
Yeah, same. I too am all for it. You gotta
save yourself, Angus.
I still want my job. But yeah, those are a very controversial topic. It was a very good conversation. Learn a lot.
Yeah, learn a lot. Thank you very much for the education.
Likewise. Let's all get more educated.
So if you want to hate us more, especially Ricky.
Yeah, throw me some hate mail.
But yeah, hopefully everyone learned a little bit something about, our opinion on it. Mm-hmm. And, we're all here just having an open conversation and just learning. So yeah, so hope you like this episode. If, what's your thought on it? You can let us know in the comments. You can like our video, subscribe, hit that notification button. We're all on Spotify, we're on YouTube, TikTok, everything's in Linktree, and we'll see everyone on the next one.
Nice.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.